This is Backstage Bay Area. Now, here's your host, Steve Roby.
Welcome, everyone. This is Backstage Bay Area. I'm your host, Steve Roby. Vibraphonist, composer, and educator Stefon Harris is a leading figure in contemporary jazz. A four-time Grammy nominee and bandleader of Blackout, he has released over 10 albums, collaborated with artists like Herbie, Hancock, and Wayne Shorter, worked with the SFJAZZ Collective, co-developed the Harmony Cloud ear training app, and recently released Sonic Creed Volume 2 Life Science. Plus, there's a new album in the works. Stefon Harris, welcome to Backstage Bay Area.
Thank you, Steve. It's good to be here.
Yeah, so happy you could be here too. For some of our listeners who are just getting to know you, how would you describe your musical roots and what first drew you to the vibraphone?
Well, my mom's a minister, so I grew up in the Black church, so I think my roots are definitely grounded in Black culture. But then I also ended up playing a lot of classical music starting from about 7th grade all the way through college. My degree actually is in classical music. So I ended up having this fascinating mixture of music that is really deeply grounded in the culture that I grew up with, but I also had a lot of influence from the expansive nature of Western classical music as well. So I think the main thing is our music is soulful, it comes from the heart, and it is a music that is never quite the same every time.
All right, I like it, I like it. Who would you say some of the musicians, mentors, or even specific recordings that really opened your ears when you were coming up?
It's fascinating because it's beyond genre. Certainly, probably the most inspiring artist for me is Stevie Wonder. I just think that he truly embodies what it means to be an artist with regard to depth of harmonic understanding, musical genius, of course, but then there's always this grounding in the why of music. His music is always centered around uplifting people, helping people to be seen. So I really respect him as an artist in terms of understanding that art for the sake of art is not necessarily enough to keep us sustained.
Was there a certain mentor that encouraged you to play the vibraphone?
Sure. I met a gentleman by the name of Richard Al Bagley. He was my private teacher in upstate New York. I met him when I was in 8th grade, and he just absolutely changed my life. As a kid, I played basically all of the band instruments. I played flute, clarinet. In high school, I played sousaphone in the marching band. So I just loved music. But meeting Richard Al Bagley, he helped me focus, and he really challenged me in ways that I just didn't think I could rise to, but I did lesson after lesson.
All right. Boy, to play every instrument in the band, that is something.
Yeah, I couldn't get enough.
Obviously. Your latest album with Blackout, Sonic Creed Volume 2, Life Science, continues the story you began on Sonic Creed. What was the central concept behind this new chapter, and what did you want to explore musically or emotionally this time around?
I think that there's a lot of music in the world, and there's no one is begging for new music for the sake of new music. I think an artist should document music when they have something on their heart that they need to say. So I just felt like I had great quality music that was coming out of me at that moment. There are times where I'm heavily focused on teaching or app development, but that was a period where there was just compositions that were flowing, and it felt like it was the right moment to document it. And also, we had 1 or 2 tracks that we didn't use on the first Sonic Creed album that we ended up using on the Volume 2 album. So there's a consistency of sound there as well.
That's always nice to have a few extra tracks out there, huh?
Yeah.
Before we play it, can you tell us the story behind the tune Life Science? What sparked that composition for you, and what should we be listening for as it unfolds?
Well, it's interesting. As a musician, you tend to create an ecosystem of tools that work for you. There are sounds that I just absolutely love, and I've learned a system that creates a sound that I think is near and dear to my heart. But every once in a while, you want to challenge yourself. Well, often you want to challenge yourself.
Yeah.
So I remember watching my 2 sons when they were little babies. They were playing with these 2 red solo cups, and it was for like hours. And I just loved the thought that even with something so simple, if you apply a lot of imagination, you don't need a large quantity of information and tools. You need qualitative learning. So I said, I'm going to break things down into small 4-note structures, which is very unusual. So it has a sound all of its own, the entire song, without getting into the musical details of it all. it's just a completely different approach to the way that I had been organizing chords and melodies. And now it's a much more consistent part of my sound. But it began with being brave enough to innovate towards the small, not trying to have more, but limiting myself to fewer elements and seeing what I could pull out of those few elements.
Yeah, I love that story. That's great. Well, let's listen to it now. This is Life Signs from Sonic Creed Volume 2. Let's listen to it and talk more with Stefon on the other side. This is Backstage Bay Area. You're listening to Backstage Bay Area. I'm Steve Roby, and my guest today is vibraphonist and composer Stefon Harris. We just heard Life Signs from his album Sonic Creed Volume 2, which is available now. Before we get back to your music, Stefon, I'm really excited to ask you about this app that you developed for musicians. You co-founded the Melodic Progression Institute and created Harmony Cloud, which helps musicians train their ears and explore harmony in real time. It's fascinating. For someone who has never seen it, or how would you explain what Harmony Cloud does and how a musician might use it in their daily practice?
I would say it like this for someone who's not a musician. So there are basically three elements of music. You have melody, you have rhythm, and you have harmony. So by far, the most ubiquitous tool in the history of music that every musician around the globe has is a metronome. It's that cute little thing that just goes click, click, click. But what the metronome does is it helps you contextualize your sense of rhythm and time. There is no tool that exists that can help you contextualize your sense of harmony. I just invented that tool. So now a musician has a tool that with a metronome where they can be steady, but now Harmony Cloud actually can improvise chord progressions. It can improvise for 6 hours straight. If you give it 20 chords, it'll never play the same progression again. So now when you're practicing something as simple as a major scale, it actually really sounds like music. Wow. It's almost like, I like to say, I never practice alone. It's like having me hang out with you in the practice room to breathe life into whatever it is that you're practicing. And I think a lot of that is grounded in my cultural experience in the Black church, right? Where someone would stand up to tell a story, they would just stand up to testify, and all of a sudden the chords would just come out of nowhere. It's not predictable, it's not written down, everyone's listening, and the chords actually amplify the emotional content of the story being told. So that's kind of what Harmony Cloud can do. It can do 1,000 things, but that's part of what motivated me to create this tool to empower a lot of people all around the world.
So how do you set it up? Is it a desktop app? Is it a phone app, or both? Or how do you get started?
Yeah, so right now it's an app on the Apple App Store. So it's available for iPhones and iPads. And it's pretty simple. Once you download it from the store, I think that's one of these things that over time, people will find 1,000 ways to use it that I didn't even imagine. So I'm so excited that we just released this product and we're doing quite well so far. So there's a lot of interest and I'm very excited about that.
So it's available on Apple's App Store. Is it available anywhere else, or is it strictly Mac?
No, it's strictly Mac for now. The development process is quite tedious and expensive. So we will eventually get to Android, but we needed to start with Mac first.
Have you seen any examples with, say, students or somebody getting started with music that has used it and has some success with it at this point?
Oh, sure. We had a beta version that came out a couple of years ago, and there are fantastic testimonials of people using it in the classroom and just people really saying that it helped them understand how to feel music as opposed to just sort of looking at what's on the paper, which is actually not music, right? When you look at a piece of paper and you see those notes there, that's a drawing. Music is an oral science. So people have commented that it helped them live in the space of sound where you could close your eyes because the Harmony Cloud is not writing anything down for you. It's producing vibrations that you have to learn to recognize by ear.
Fascinating. I'll put a link to the App Store app for our listeners that are interested to learn more and download the app there.
Fantastic.
Let's transition back to your music. I want to move to another track from Sonic Creed Volume 2. It's a beautiful piece titled I Know Love. What was the inspiration for this tune, and why did you want this particular song to be part of Life Signs' story?
It's a song that I wrote for a really, really incredible human being named Eileen Lowenthal. I'm very close to her family, and when she passed away, her family asked me to write a piece of music so that they would have something to remember her by. So for me, what a humbling experience to be charged with the task of creating something that captures someone's essence. And that reminded me of how I actually study harmony. I will take a sound, any chord, and I will literally have paragraphs that I write out describing what it feels like emotionally. So if you ask me to give you anxiety, I know which chords create anxiety. I know which chords have that haunting feeling. So for me, I thought about Eileen, I wrote a poem, a lyric, and then I basically thought about which chords would amplify the lyric that is connected to the melody. So this version that you're hearing now is a very early version. So the lyric is not here, but on the album that will be coming out in 2026, there's a version where Casey Benjamin is singing and there's strings. And so this is a piece of music that really just came from the heart and has a great and special place in my heart.
What a great story, Stefon. I think there's a book inside of you that one day we'll read. That's good. Anyway, let's give it a listen. This is I Know Love from Sonic Creed Volume 2. We'll be back in a moment and ask Stefon Harris about his upcoming show at SF Jazz. That was I Know Love, and you're tuned to Backstage Bay Area. I'm talking with vibraphonist and composer Stefon Harris today. Stefon, many Bay Area listeners remember you from your years with the SFJAZZ Collective. You were part of that band from 2007 to 2013. What are some of your favorite memories from that time in San Francisco, either on the minor auditorium stage or just being in the city around music?
You know what I love most about being in that band is the opportunity to begin again. Every season, having new music that was completely challenging, and this idea that you weren't going to get that music until about 2 weeks before that first rehearsal, right? So I love that every year I was able to grow tremendously, and not just from my own ambition, but I grew from the life experiences that every musician in the band brought to the table, because they were all writing original pieces and they were all in very diverse styles. So I felt like I really had to stretch myself while figuring out how to maintain my own unique identity. So I think my time in the collective was absolutely transformative for me. As a man, as a composer, I learned a tremendous amount, and I'm really excited that an ensemble like that exists in our world. And I think it's really something that should be modeled across the country.
Yeah, we just had a member from the SFJAZZ Collective on the show, and 2 weeks before their performances, they were working on Wayne Shorter's Native Dancer, and what a project to take on. So I understand what you're saying, yeah. So you're sharing a double bill at SFJAZZ with trumpeter Theo Croker as part of Terrence Blanchard's Upswing series. When you think about Theo's sound and approach, what do you enjoy most about pairing your music with his on a night like this?
Oh, I love Theo's sound and his voice, because I think we are both centered in the idea that the value of art is about articulating what's happening in the world right now. It's not about being the best or the fastest or anything of that nature. I think art has value because 500 years from now, people are going to look back and are going to wonder about how we spent our time on the planet. And they're going to look to what the artists, the painters, the poets, the musicians, how we documented the world that we've inhabited. So I think Theo is someone who's dedicated to capturing contemporary sounds in the same way that my band Blackout has been doing for over 20 years now. So I think it's a great bill. And again, I think both of our ensembles are full of love, joy, and being in the moment, and soul, unapologetic soul. There is nothing wrong with being soulful.
Absolutely. Yeah, that's great. It sounds like an amazing night of music. What can fans expect at the November 29th show at Minor Auditorium? Who's joining you on stage with Blackout, and how are you planning the set list?
So our set list often changes. We don't always follow a set list, but we'll be playing music from previous albums. Terrion Gully, who is one of my best friends in the world, I mean, he's the original drummer in the band. This band has been together over 20 years now. So our chemistry is fantastic. Lucas Curtis will be playing bass, another brilliant musician. Kenny Banks Jr., who is a musician I just recently started playing with on piano, is incredible. I love that he has such deep roots in the church, so that brings out a whole other side of me. We have the great Jaleel Shaw, and we're going to have a vocalist named Alexis Morast, who I got to tell you, she is incredibly special. What a gift. She's from the city of Newark, where I work, and my family is here in the city of Newark. And it's just an honor to be able to present her as part of the ensemble, because I have no doubt that she's going to be one of the most important voices in our art form in the future.
Wow. It sounds like a full stage of music and voices, and geez, what a night it's going to be.
Yeah. Why not? We always celebrate. I every time I get a chance to perform, I never take it for granted. It's one of those beautiful moments in life where you don't have time to worry about the past. There's no time to worry about the future. It is one of the few moments in life where I am 100% deeply present when I'm on stage. So it's a blessing.
Well said. So once again, for our listeners, Stefon Harris and Blackout will share a double bill with trumpeter Theo Croker as part of Terrence Blanchard's Upswing series. It takes place on Saturday, November 29th at 7:30 p.m. at SFJAZZ's Minor Auditorium in San Francisco. You can find tickets and full details at sfjazz.org, or just use the direct link in our show notes. Stefon, before I let you go, you kind of hinted at this earlier. What are you working on in the coming year?
Well, we just released my app just a few days ago, so I'll be working on continuing to develop that. Another ambition of mine is to, I'm writing a book this year.
I knew there was a book in there.
Yeah. So I have about 30 years of research that I needed to pull together into a teaching system that I think is going to be really impactful. And then I also have an album that I'm going to release later this year. So I have a very full agenda in addition to running an art center in the city of Newark.
Gosh, you're a busy guy, man. Jeez.
I'm a lucky guy. That's what I am.
Absolutely. Looking forward to this upcoming show at Minor Auditorium. Stefon, thank you so much for taking the time to join us and for sharing the ideas behind your music.
Thanks for the support. We're looking forward to having an amazing time.
All right. And thank you for listening. This has been Backstage Bay Area. I'm Steve Roby. We'll see you at the show.